we're about to hike an active volcano, and I just got my period. I'm like, you know how this goes, because nobody ever talks about these things. And this is a bucket list item of mine, so I'm not gonna stop myself from doing this, even though it's gonna be absolutely horrible. Let's go. In the small Central American country of Guatemala, about an hour from its capital, lies one of the world's most active volcanoes, Volcán Fuego, or Fire Volcano. This is right next to Antigua, which is a beautiful colonial city that was actually destroyed a few times because of the 3 volcanoes surrounding it. Volcanagua hasn't erupted since the 1500s. To get to Fuego, you have to first climb Volcan Acatenango, and this is what I did. Climbing one unsuspecting active volcano, which hasn't erupted since the 1970s, to see this. This is Wicho & Charlie's, the company that we used to climb Volcan Acatenango. Here's a disclaimer, I was here working with a travel agency and they're the ones that chose this company. I did not choose this company for myself, but if there's something that I did like about Wicho & Charlie's was the sustainability aspect of it. And here is why. Let me show you the snack bar, for example, where we have little paper bags where people can actually fill up their bags, all this rental equipment, but here's the best part. The fact that you didn't need to buy anything in advance. So you can take these bags and they have a little shop where you can actually rent stuff from, which was incredibly useful, especially for me as a full-time traveler. I normally travel in warmer climates and there is no way I'd be bringing any of this along with me. Better sore than sorry. Definitely agree with this one. They pretty much had everything. Gloves, scarves, even refillable water bottles to make sure that you wouldn't take any plastic water bottles with you. I highly recommend this. Energy shots, a breakfast spread, and a shop that provides and rents out everything that you could possibly need for your climb. I can see why Wicho & Charlie's is one of the most expensive companies out there, and they actually give back to the community too. So keep this in mind when you're looking for companies. You get what you paid for here.
On your own time. That's why we are 5 guys. The only thing that we can't do is to go with only one person. If you are one of the first, then you have to wait at least for 10 people, then you can keep going. If you are one of the last, I would recommend to pay for a porter because without the bag will be too much easier for you. In case if you don't have a porter, you can let us know and we can help you with that. Yeah? Alright guys, from here to the base camp we have like a 3 different parts. The first part is going to be the hardest part because it's steep and slippery, and also the sun makes it harder. The second part is going to be a bit better because we zigzag inside of the forest. And the last part, I love the last part because we go on the flat part. Guatemala flat. But you will enjoy the last 45 minutes before to get to the base camp, guys.
Hello ladies, say hi. Here we go. Up here, the pain hasn't started yet. That's good. It usually starts on day 1 or 2, so fuck. These are the heroes and the man that make everything possible. The porters, the ones who take up supplies and who go up and down 3 to 4 times a week. This is so slippery. It's really bad. I'll show you a video of this. Look at this. Look at how nasty this is from my nose, people. It's from my nose. Wicho & Charlie's actually provides dog food so we can feed all of the stray animals on the volcano. Isn't this amazing? And we finally made it to the so-called shady part. Much better than the first one, though. This is the national park. I've got a raging headache, and I don't know if that's due to my period, the heat, altitude, or just a combination of all of those. I'm already starting to get cramps. I'm about to drink a painkiller. I'll see if that helps. Oh god. We've got this. We all got a veggie pasta salad on the way up, and I am so grateful that we get to rest every 30 minutes because I don't know what we do without this break. This is very intense. Hello. How are we doing? Hola, diga hola. Hello. This is it. 1 hour left. I think the worst part was over. That last part was 45 minutes. It's gonna be relatively flat, and then the last 15 minutes we just gotta push through and we're at the campsite. I might take a nap when I get there. I'm not even joking. I walked the last hour with the porters. Since I'm also from the region, it was easy for them to open up and tell me about their jobs. This is the best paying job in their community. 200 quetzales per climb, which they do 2 to 3 times per week. That's around $300 per month. Most people here work in fields. They'll earn 60 to 70 quetzales per day, almost half of what they make as porters. This is how impactful tourism is here. How is this even real? This is beyond me. You can hear the rumbling of the volcano. We're here. We made it. Oh my god, this is by far one of the most grueling things I've ever had to do in my life. Physically, talking. Whoa, but worth it? Yes. So this is our campsite. That's Fuego, of course, which erupts every 10 to 15 minutes. Isn't that crazy? This is our dining room area. We are the highest campsite, so I think we get the best views. That's Agua over there, and these are our sleeping quarters. Now let me tell you about these. We are the only ones that have an enclosed area. So most people are sleeping in tents and sleeping bags. We actually have this, which is pretty great. And this is one of the guides collecting water. We all had to bring up our own water. And this is the water for our meals, along with our hot chocolate for tonight. And that's the rice and beans that we're going to be eating tomorrow. Good old rice and beans for breakfast. Fuego wasn't putting up much of a show, so we decided to go back in to keep ourselves warm and get some food. Lentils and rice. All meals here are vegetarian or vegan. And then we went out and sat by the fireplace and waited. And waited. And waited. And Fuego was putting up a bit of a show now, but not as much as we expected, and then it just completely shut down. We couldn't put up with the cold. By 9:30, I couldn't deal with it anymore. I was tired, I wasn't feeling well, so I decided to go back in. And I went into bed. 9 blankets, 3 layers, a pair of gloves, and it wasn't enough. We sat by the ledge watching the sunrise until 7 a.m., and then it was time to head back down. I'm waiting for the girls to get ready, and this, by the way, is our latrine. And keep in mind that this is the campsite with the best facilities. Good morning. Here are my walking sticks, ready to go out. The wait down should be about 2 hours. I was so lightheaded yesterday on the way up to the campsite, because our campsite is the highest one in this whole region. I thought I was gonna die with my bag, so I decided to hire a porter again, which I wasn't planning on doing, but I was like, I can't do this, I'm just like, just trying to listen to my body a little bit more. Just waiting for the girls, and that's that. I froze to death last night. I'm still alive, but it was really, really, really cold. I did bring enough layers, but yeah, it was extremely cold, but was it worth it? Was the effort worth it? And this is this is by far, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's a combination of exhaustion, of having my period, altitude. I'm not entirely sure of what it is, but I felt like this is the hardest hike I've ever done in my life. Hello from a co-working space. I wanted to make sure that I made this video. The climb down was much more intense than I expected it to be. And so I wasn't able to record as much as I would have wanted to, but I wanted to make this video instead to make sure that I gave you my top tips for Acatenango and to make sure that you understand why it's so important you prioritize this right now. So here are 5 tips of what you should take or things that you should do for Acatenango. The first one, sunscreen. I was using SPF 50. I still got sunburned. Maybe that's what happened when I made it to the top. Maybe I got a bit of a sunstroke. I'm not entirely sure, but please make sure that you reapply sunscreen regularly and that you bring strong one too. Number 2, walking sticks. Even if you're an experienced hiker, you don't really know how intense this hike could potentially get. So make sure you take walking sticks. These can be rented in a lot of different places. Layers. It got extremely cold at night and I thought I was prepared, and we all thought we were prepared. And even though we were in the most covered campsite, most of us did not sleep well because of how incredibly cold it was. It can go below freezing at night here. There is no heating available, obviously. So I had 5 blankets, 3 layers, and gloves, and I still did not sleep well because of the cold. If you cannot bring any, make sure that you go with a company where you can rent out most of this equipment. Proper hiking boots. It is an intense hike. It is incredibly slippery. It is very steep. Not bringing hiking boots is not to prove anything to anybody. It's just to make sure that you don't actually fall and get injured. The company that I was with, for example, does not allow people to go up on horses because that's not part of what the experience is all about. The whole point of the experience is for you to climb the volcano on your own. And last but not least, don't be conceited. Just because you're an experienced hiker, don't think that you're not gonna need a porter. If you just want to focus on the experience of hiking like I did, go ahead and hire a porter. You're going to be giving back directly to the community. You're going to be able to focus entirely on the climb and not on whether or not you can carry everything that you have. And once you start the hike, there's no turning back. Most of these porters are already carrying 2 or 3 bags and they've already been assigned. If there are not enough bags to carry, then a lot of the porters are going to stay behind. I hired a porter on my way up, which I know I needed, and on the way down, turns out that I wasn't feeling well. So I went ahead and I hired another porter on the way down, and it made the climb down that much more easier. These men are heroes. They do this 3-4 times a week, and by you hiring them, like I said, you're giving directly back to the community. One thing that I didn't talk about, my period. How did I manage it? I used a larger than average menstrual cup, which I did not change because there were latrines and I did not think that it was hygienic enough for me to change it because I didn't want to get an infection. Not something I'm proud of, and I was also wearing menstrual undies. If you're interested in using a menstrual cup, I highly suggest you take this test right here. This is how I started using menstrual cups. I took this test. It is not in any way sponsored by any of these companies. All they do is you take a test, they ask you different questions about your lifestyle, your flow, everything else, whether or not you've had pregnancies, and then they tell you which brands would be most suitable for you. Another thing that I was using was menstrual undies. So both of the products that I use are from Saalt. Saalt was one of the companies that was recommended to me the first time I took the test back in 2020. I've been using menstrual cups ever since. I've never looked back. My whole life has changed, especially as a traveler. They're so good and really good for the environment too. So I highly recommend them. You can get $5 off with my code right here, which I'm going to be attaching here. Again, not sponsored, but I do love Saalt. If you want to see an active volcano spewing lava, go to Guatemala soon. Look at what happened with Iceland last year. It was incredibly active and I could see all these people on social media rushing to Iceland. I didn't. What happened? A few months later, gone. Everything was gone. You don't know when that's going to happen with Guatemala. Guatemala is this up-and-coming destination. It's becoming incredibly popular. Fuego has been spewing lava since like 2021 up until now, 2023. We don't know how long this is going to last, so make sure you prioritize it. Guatemala also is, as someone who's originally from Central America, I think that Guatemala is probably, from my personal opinion, I think there is no country that's as culturally rich as Guatemala. In the Central American region, I'm not including Mexico, many countries in the region have a tragic past when it comes to their culture and their traditions, and they had to give them up. It hasn't been as intense in Guatemala. So beautiful, beautiful, stunning country. This experience was by far a bucket list item and one of the best things I've ever done. I highly recommend it. But that's it for me. Thank you for watching, and please continue to follow along as I, a solo female traveler, continues to tackle every country in the world. I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.